Hello everyone, this is Mohit Singh Katoch, working as Assistant Professor in Civil Engineering Department of Tulsiramji Gaikwad Patil College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. I welcome you all in today's practical session of the subject Water and Wastewater Treatment. Today, we are going to perform a practical of calculating optimum dose of coagulant. For this, we are going to use the platform of Virtual Labs, which is an initiative of Ministry of Education of Government of India. In this pandemic time, as all the colleges are closed, the physical mode of conduction of practicals and classes is not possible. So because of that, this platform has been created to give the students an experience of performing the practicals in virtual mode as if they are performing that in their physical laboratories. So today we are going to utilize Environmental Engineering Lab 2, which has been initiated by NIT Karnataka of Suratkal. So we will click on this. This will take us to a new tab of Environmental Engineering 2. Here, list of experiments is provided. So as you can see here, 7 experiments are given under the head of Environmental Engineering 2. First is determination of chemical oxygen demand. Second is alum coagulation, which we are going to perform today, the jar test for optimum dose of coagulant calculation. Next, the third is determination of breakpoint chlorine demand. It is based on the disinfection unit of wastewater. Then there is determination of sulfate in water, determination of fluorides in water, determination of dissolved oxygen content in water, and last, the practical is of determination of turbidity in water. So today we are going to perform the practical number 2 from this list, alum coagulation. So on the left side, you can see aim of this experiment is given. Then some theory related to this topic is given. Then there is pre-test questionnaire, which we can solve to test how much knowledge we have before the starting of this topic. Then there is the procedure, how step by step this experiment is performed. This procedure is given, step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on until the last inference calculation is achieved. So this is the procedure. The interesting part of this virtual labs is the simulation. In simulation, the procedure which we saw just now is simulated. That is, we can perform these steps one by one as if we are performing these steps in our laboratory. Then after the conclusion of this test, we can give a post test, which again consists of some questionnaire based on the practical we just performed. So coming on to the aim. So aim of this experiment is to determine the optimum dose of coagulant for water or wastewater treatment by using jar test. So we will see the theory of this practical in short. So alum coagulation. Generally, we encounter very fine and charged clay-like particles, which we sometimes call as colloidal particles, in water treatment, which should be detached before we continue for further processing. So these fine particles and charged particles should be removed and detached from the water before that water can be sent to further treatment processes. When water is passed to a sedimentation tank, these impurities do not settle down by gravity. The cause being that these are charged particles, they repel each other and just stay in flotation. So normally we remove the particles, impurities using sedimentation tank, but these type of very fine and colloidal impurities are very difficult to settle down by gravity in plain sedimentation tanks. So hence we introduce a process known as coagulation, which helps in trapping these impurities and settling down them to the bottom of the tank. And one thing I want to tell you, these colloidal particles are charged particles. They repel each other and just stay in flotation. That is, these colloidal particles move in a zigzag Brownian motion. They don't move in a fixed path, they move in a random path. They collide with each other, they repel each other, and hence they stay in flotation. So because of that, these particles are very difficult to be removed due to gravity. Hence, coagulation is the process of addition of a chemical to destabilize a stabilized charged particle. So we add certain chemicals known as coagulant into the water so that this coagulation process can take place and it can destabilize these charged particles. Then there is another process known as flocculation, which takes after coagulation. So flocculation is a slow mixing technique which promotes agglomeration and helps the particle to settle down. Agglomeration means all the particles comes together, join together and make a big flock. Hence the name flocculation. These flocks, as the size increases, it becomes heavy and hence it goes down to the tank due to gravity. The presence of fine charged particles increases the turbidity of the water, which is undesirable, and hence these impurities are to be removed. Therefore, we use certain chemicals which separates as soon as they are added to the water and they help in the process of coagulation. In this current experiment which we are going to perform today, we are using alum as the clarifying agent. This alum is having a chemical formula of Al2SO4 by 3 18H2O. So coagulation removes not only turbidity but also color, odor producing substances, microorganisms, algae, phosphate and taste. So through the slow mixing or so-called flocculation process, we helps in agglomeration, and this agglomeration occurs which combines the charged particles into a compact whole particle and helps in the settling of these small particles. That is the reason why we have to step up slow mixing in this experiment. Excess dosage of alum may give excess aluminum in water. Hence we calculate optimum dose. If this excess aluminum enters water, it increases the turbidity. Again, due to less dosage of alum, all dissolved solids may not get coagulated. Hence, it is essential to have an optimal dosage so that the turbidity is not increased due to alum. So this is the main reason why we calculate optimum dose of coagulant and not maximum dose of coagulant, because there is a basic difference between optimum and maximum dose. Optimum dose means we can get maximum benefit with minimum input of the chemical. If alum is in less quantity, all the dissolved solids may not get coagulated. This is a drawback. If alum is added in excess quantity, it may give excess aluminum in water and hence it will increase the turbidity in place of reducing it. So we have to calculate optimum dose of coagulant to get the maximum benefit. So in today's jar test, the jar test is a common laboratory method used to determine the optimum operating conditions for water or wastewater treatment. This process allows changes in pH, variations in coagulant or polymer dose, alternating mixing speeds, or testing of different coagulants or polymer types on a small scale in order to predict the working of a large-scale treatment operation. So before implementing the dose of coagulant in large-scale treatment processes, we test it on a small-scale level and we check various parameters, various conditions, and then we calculate the optimum dose which will give us the best result. So this jar testing apparatus consists of 6 paddles which stirs the contents of 6 1-liter containers. One container, that is the first container, act as a controller while the operating conditions can be varied among the residual 5 containers. An RPM gauge at the top center of the device allows for the constant control of the mixing speed in all of the containers. So 6 beakers are placed, paddles with stirrers are placed in all these beakers, and we can control the speed of these stirrers with the help of RPM gauge. We can vary the conditions in each beaker by varying the dosage or some other parameters. So now we will move on to the simulation part, where we will see the procedure in step-by-step manner and we will perform the experiment. So now we will perform this experiment in the simulator and see the step-by-step procedure, how it is performed. So coming on to the simulator, here the objective is given: calculation of optimum dose of coagulant for water and wastewater treatment by jar test. The apparatus used are nephelometer, which you can see here, the nephelometer tube, which is placed here, a pipette, beaker, stirrer, measuring cylinder, etc. So these are the apparatus which we are going to use in this experiment. The solution which we are going to use are the water samples and the aluminium solution, the alum solution, Al2SO4 by 3 18H2O. This is the chemical formula of alum. In description, we have already seen in the theoretical part what is coagulation and what is flocculation. So coagulation is the process of addition of a chemical to destabilize a stabilized charged particle, while flocculation is a slow mixing technique which promotes agglomeration and helps the particle to settle down. So this is the experimental setup which we are going to perform now. This simulation is designed by the virtual lab at NIT Karnataka, Suratkal, Department of Water Resources and Ocean Engineering. So the first step is to take 500 ml of water sample in 6 beakers using a measuring cylinder. So this is a measuring cylinder. This is a water sample. The beauty of this simulation procedure is that it tells us what to do. Whenever we click on that, it happens as if we are doing it in our practical laboratory. So we clicked on the stopper. The stopper is opened from the top. Now we'll click on this water sample. Now we will take 500 ml of water sample in the measuring cylinder. Now we will close the lid. Now we will take this measuring cylinder and put this 500 ml of water in a beaker. Repeat the same procedure for remaining 5 beakers. So we have taken 500 ml sample in the first beaker. We will repeat this same procedure for remaining 5 beakers. So into this total 6 beakers, we have taken 500 ml water sample. So next is step 2. Add different dosages of alum solution to the 6 beakers with one as a blank. So we will keep this first sample as blank solution. 0 ml alum will be added here, and then we will add alum in the increasing quantity in each of the beaker. So first step is to squeeze the pipette bulb and dip the pipette into the alum solution. We will squeeze it. We will dip it in the alum solution. Press the up arrow on the bulb to take the liquid up into the pipette. We will press this up arrow. Liquid will be taken into this pipette. Now we will click on this pipette and we will put few drops of alum solution in the first beaker. Before that, we will close the lid of the alum solution. Now we will click on the down arrow of the bulb to release the alum solution. So we'll add 0 ml in first beaker, 1 ml alum solution in second beaker, 2 ml alum solution in third beaker, and so on. We will increase the quantity with 1 ml each time. Now we'll move on to the next beaker. We will add 4 ml alum solution. And moving on to the last beaker, we will add 5 ml alum solution. So in the first beaker, we kept it as blank, 0 ml alum was added. These type of questions can be asked in the simulator. So the unit of turbidity is NTU, where NTU stands for watt. So these are the options out of this. The correct answer is nephelometric turbidity units. So if we give the wrong answer, it will tell us that the answer is wrong. So moving on to step 3, stir the mixture thoroughly at 100 rpm for 1 minute and at 30 rpm for 29 minutes. So we have to place this beaker in the stirrer arrangement. We will keep the remaining 5 beakers under the appropriate stirrer. We will click here and we will place the paddles into the beaker. Similarly, we will lower all the stirrers in all the remaining 5 beakers. So now our setup is ready. We will click on this on button. Mains are on. This is the stirrer knob, RPM indicator. So we'll set the speed at 100 RPM and we will set the timer as 1 minute. The stirring has started. The stirrers are moving at constant speed of 100 RPM in all the beakers for 1 minute. The timer is set. When the timer ends, the stirring stops. We have to again set the stirrer RPM indicator at 30 RPM speed. We will set the timer at 29 minutes and begin the stirring. The first 1 minute stirring was rapid mixing at 100 RPM speed. This second stirring at 30 RPM speed for 29 minutes is a slow mixing process. First we performed rapid mixing and now we are performing slow mixing. So we have added different amount of dosages of alums in this beaker. The RPM speed is constant. Now after the end of the 29 minute of this second slow stirring, we will turn off the machine. We will take out the stirrer paddles and we will take the beakers out. Similarly, we will take out the remaining beakers from the stirrer. So all the 6 beakers have been taken out. We will now move on to step 4. So take the nephelometer tube and fill it with a sample in the beaker. So these are the nephelometer tubes which will be kept into the nephelometer. So we'll place the sample from the beakers into these nephelometer tubes. We will click on the lid and the lid will be closed. Similarly, we will fill all the nephelometer tubes with the samples in these respective beakers. So 6 nephelometer tubes are ready. Now we will move towards our next step. So next step is calibration of nephelometer. Before taking the actual readings of the water samples, we have to calibrate the nephelometer. So we will now perform the calibration process. Step 7. So we will on the nephelometer, we will place the sample cell with distilled water in the nephelometer. We will set the readings to 0 by adjusting coarse and fine knob. So adjusting these coarse and fine knobs, we will set the reading to 0 and we will place the sample cell with distilled water. Distilled water is inside this sample cell of nephelometer tube. We will close the lid and we will adjust the knobs and set the reading to 0. So you can see here the reading has been set to 0. We will again close the lid, open the lid. Then we will take out the nephelometer tube. After setting this 0 reading, now we will place 100 NTU calibration standard in the sample holder of nephelometer. Adjust the calibrate knob to set the readings to 0. So this is a sample of which we know that the reading is 100 NTU. So we will place this sample inside the nephelometer and with the help of these knobs, we will try to set the reading to 100. Now we will click on this knob. The reading is set to 100. We will open the lid. We will take out the nephelometer tube. After closing the lid, now our nephelometer is calibrated and is ready to measure the turbidity and other units of the samples. So nephelometer has to be calibrated in order to eliminate or reduce the biasness in its reading over a range for all continuous values. I think the value is true and is correct. So we'll move on to the next step, measurement of turbidity of samples. So we calibrated our nephelometer and now we will measure the turbidity of the samples. So step 9, measure the turbidity of samples by placing sample tube in the nephelometer. So first we will open the lid of the nephelometer. We will place our first sample tube inside the nephelometer. We will close the lid and now the reading will come here. We note this reading in our observation table. After noting down the reading, we take this sample tube out. We close the lid and in the similar fashion, we measure the turbidity of the remaining samples. So this was the procedure for first tube. We will perform this procedure for rest of the tubes and we will measure the amount of turbidity in each sample. So here you can see that tube number 1 is having turbidity limit of 45 NTU. Here 0 ml coagulant was added, hence no coagulation process took place and hence the turbidity is maximum in this tube number 1. In tube number 2, where 1 ml coagulant was added, the turbidity has reduced from 45 NTU to 9.6 NTU. In tube number 3, it has further reduced to 5.5 NTU. In tube number 4, we can see that the turbidity is again increasing. So that means our optimal dose should be in the range of this third tube NTU range, because after adding more coagulant, we are getting the increased value of turbidity. So we will focus on this third tube to draw a curve and to calculate the optimum dose of coagulant. So a question has been asked here. Coagulation is a slow mixing technique which promotes agglomeration and helps the particles to settle down. So answer is true or false. We have seen this in the theoretical part that coagulation is a process of mixing the chemicals and flocculation is a slow mixing technique which promotes agglomeration. So the answer should be false and our answer is correct. So we'll move on to next step. Next step is the observation table. So in the observation table, we can see we have given sample numbers to our tubes. So first tube is given sample number 0 as 0 ml alum was added into the tube. Next sample is given sample number 1 as 1 ml alum was added, and similarly 2, 3, 4 and 5 numbers are given to the 6 tubes as 2, 3, 4 and 5 ml alum was added. So these are our 6 tubes having different amounts of alum in them. So now we have to write the alum dosage in milligrams per liter and turbidity in NTU. So this is the turbidity unit which we calculated from the nephelometer. So 0 ml sample number 0 was 45 NTU. Sample number 1 is having turbidity of 9.6 NTU. Sample number 2, 5.5 NTU. 3, 11 NTU. 4, 14.2 NTU. And 5, 16.9 NTU. So after this sample number 2, the turbidity is increasing as we increase the dosage of alum. So now we have to write the alum dosage in milligrams per liter. We will first check the hint. So they have given the hint as if 1 ml of alum solution is added, it is equal to 10 milligrams of alum per liter. So as 0 ml alum solution was added here, we will write as 0 milligrams per liter as per this value. 1 ml means 10 mg. We will write it as 10 mg. 2 is equal to 20 mg per liter. 330 mg per liter, 440 mg per liter, and fifth 50 mg per liter. We will check the result. So these are the actual observations after we have filled the alum dosage in milligrams per liter. So now we will draw a characteristic curve of turbidity versus alum dose, and from this curve we will find out the optimum dose of coagulant. So you can see here in first sample initially when alum dosage was 0, on x-axis we have given alum dosage in milligrams per liter, and on y-axis we have given turbidity in milligrams per liter. So initially the turbidity in the sample was around 45 mg per liter when no coagulant was added in water sample. As we increase the dose of alum in the water, the turbidity is increasing, the turbidity is decreasing slowly. And here we can see at this point when the alum dosage is 15.4 mg per liter, the turbidity level is the lowest, that is 4.91. After this, if the dosage of alum is increased, the turbidity is increasing. So from this curve we can calculate that the alum dosage when it is 15.4 milligrams per liter, it is having the lowest level of turbidity, that is 4.91 milligrams per liter. So optimum alum dosage in milligrams per liter can be written as 15.4 milligrams per liter as per this curve. We can check this value and the value is correct. So moving forward towards the inference. So what is the optimum quantity of alum required for the given sample with turbidity 4.91 NTU? So we calculate this value as 15.4 mg per liter and our answer is correct. So finally in the inference we can conclude that the optimum quantity of alum required for the given sample with turbidity 4.91 NTU is 15.4 milligrams per liter. So optimum dose of coagulant is 15.4 milligrams per liter. So with this, we have concluded our today's experiment of calculation of optimum dose of coagulant, that is alum, using jar test on virtual labs. I hope this will help you in further understanding this experiment. In the next practical session, we will perform biochemical oxygen demand practical and dissolved oxygen content practical. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you very much.